My name is Laurens Wapenaar. I'm product manager at FinDock, and with me is Klaas Koistra, also product manager at FinDock. And together, we would like to talk to you about our March release. Before we start, I'd like to state that this webinar will be recorded and will be posted on our YouTube channel /FinDock with all the previous webinars. Everything we're going to be talking about will be released to your production environment on Sunday night, March 22nd, automatically, and is already available in your sandbox environment for you to play with. If you'd like to track the status of this release and any releases we do in between, please go to status.findock.com and subscribe to notifications. All right. Today we'll be talking about a couple things. We'd like to give an update on our pilots and betas, one of which is Refunds, which Klaas will dive into a little deeper, and a new pilot around ProcessingHub process performance. And finally, we'll talk about new payment methods and all the other small wins we have added. But first, we have a new knowledge base. You may have noticed this already. Our tech writer Randy is using a new tool which has several new features that we didn't have before, and we also improved a lot of the existing things like the navigation, but also things like the search is now better, has better filtering, and we have shiny new things like the ability to ask AI. Which you see on the right-hand side, which can ask questions in a more natural language way, taking together information from several places in the documentation, so you don't have to search them yourself. We are fine-tuning the answers this gives continuously. Obviously, we need to get a little bit of a feel about what questions are asked and how it answers. So if you run into something where you're like, well, this could be improved, feel free to let us know, and we'll see what we can do to improve the AI assistant. Also, something I'd like to point out for our more technical people is that the new knowledge base includes a new shiny API reference, which contains the same information as the previous API reference, but also has a live console, which means you can connect your Salesforce environment and try out API calls directly without having to use the Workbench or Postman or some other tool, or actually have to build the whole thing yourself. You can play with it from the documentation website itself. Onto our pilots and betas. So we've got a couple things going on. So in the March release, we're moving Paya. We're trying to move Paya to beta, and we have two running pilots around Bulk API v2 and around Refunds. For Paya, we have now completed the full scope of all the features that FinDock has and implemented them for our Paya integration. Based on feedback of customers, we've added several improvements and also some things we just saw we could improve, like larger data volume performance, so faster payment schedules, using billing address as part of data quality validation, and adding AVS, so billing address validation for the online channels. Then on to Klaas to talk about Refunds.
Thanks, Laurens. Last release, we launched a very exciting new pilot called Refunds, where we allow you to initiate a refund from Salesforce, which helps our customers across the board improve their customer service, where service agents can get instant feedback on the outcome of a refund, and at the same time improve your payment insights. Because you can track the entire life cycle of the refund even before it's settled from Salesforce, where you don't have to move between systems, etc. Anymore. We have great feedback. What does FinDock Refunds currently entail? It's the ability to get instant feedback from Salesforce, from the workflow that your service agents use or leverage. It allows you to to initiate both full and partial refunds and embed that into a flow or Lightning Web component using a flow action. Now, with this release, we're adding an exciting new feature, which we already briefly spoke about last release, where we now also reflect the refund within your source, and in this case, specifically the fundraising source, because fundraising has a specific object to track refunds, which also influences data on the refund. And I've provided if you go to the next slide, Laurens, there is a nice overview of what that looks like. So previously, FinDock would sync the gift transaction with the installment to make sure that we integrate closely with the fundraising solution from Salesforce that use both the nonprofit cloud and education cloud. But with this release, when you initiate a refund from FinDock, which originates from a payment, we create a refund object like we did last release, and we show you. But we now also automatically create a gift refund that's linked to the same gift transaction as the original payment. And when a status update happens, or the date is finalized, we also update the gift refund, giving you full transparency from the source and the nonprofit cloud objects on the status of your refund, but also that influences the amounts on the gift transaction, like the current amount, to be correctly reflected as well as the status. Now you might be wondering if this also already works for the nonprofit success pack that many of our existing customers use. And given the fact that the nonprofit success pack doesn't have a specific refund object, we already create the right data out of the box for that as well, which brings both sources to the same level of compatibility with our refunds feature, which is an exciting step in our journey. Next step in that process is adding more processors, as well as providing a no-code solution for you to deploy refunds in your environment. If you're interested in participating in the pilot and are on, for example, Stripe or use authorize.net, definitely reach out so we can talk to you and learn about how you currently do refunds and incorporate that into this pilot and see if you're eligible to participate. That's it for this specific pilot. There's a lot more to come on the refunds front, but it's very exciting to see that now fundraising and the gift refunds object becomes a first-class citizen in our integration with FinDock. Now onto a more technical topic, but all the more important because it's near and dear to our heart, is the ProcessingHub performance that Laurens already briefly talked about around the Bulk API v2 pilot. So LDV performance, as you might have noticed over the last years, is a topic that is near and dear to our heart. We have many customers who process millions and millions of records every month. So we take pride in making sure that goes smoothly, error-free, but also is fast. We consciously make improvements on that front. For example, in the November 22 release, already 4 years ago, we made the generation of payments schedule a lot faster by using a new framework. With the November 25 release, as you've seen in the release notes, we have improved the way we sync data between ProcessingHub and your Salesforce org, which potentially reduces processing time of your processes by up to 40% already, which is a significant improvement that we're very proud of. And with the March 26 release, we're launching a new pilot, which we've been trialing internally, which is the Bulk API v2 pilot, which further makes the interaction between ProcessingHub and Salesforce faster and more reliable, with up to 60% faster data loads in queries. Now, what's Bulk API v2, you might ask? Bulk API v2 is the latest and greatest version of Bulk API. It's been around for quite a while already. And it's an easier, faster way to load and update data in your Salesforce environment. It's used across the board. It's a Salesforce standard API capability. The benefits of it for our customers in how we implement it is that there's less configuration and tweaking required, because Salesforce automatically does adjustments to, for example, well-known settings around batch size and if it's parallel or serial, which makes it suited for, which gives you the optimal results. It's better suited for large data volumes, and in that case also it's easier to work with when you have very large volumes. And one of the benefits that it allows you, it allows automatic retries when an insert or an update fails, on top of what we already do. Now, over the last few months, we've run a lot of internal tests to see what the benefits are for our customers. And I want to highlight two typical examples of a specifically large data volume processes that our customers run against our LDV environments, which contains a relatively standard but common implementation of FinDock against the source. And as you can see over here, we've run a large gift date payment schedule to understand what the impact is on payment schedules in general. And we've run a very large import, multiple very large imports of bank statement files. And as you can see over here, the time spent on data loads is significantly reduced, but somewhere between 30 up to 60%, depending on the process and the type of process that it's running. Which gives us confidence that we can move to the next phase of this pilot, where we are actively looking for customers who want to test this with us in their own environment to learn about any customization or specific configuration, and understand how that interacts with this new version of the bulk API. So if you're interested, feel free to reach out to me directly, or email support@findock.com, and we can talk about if you're eligible to help us test. That can be in Sandbox, and if that all goes well and you're happy, we can also move that to production, so you can experience the real benefits of this new bulk API v2 version yourself, before we make this generally available. And that's back to Laurens for some new payment methods and other updates.
Thanks, Klaas, for talking us through the refund and bulk API and the performance improvements. So we always try to do a lot of smaller improvements as well, that we believe will still make a big difference. One of those is that we've added a new payment method called Satispay to Stripe. This is a wallet payment method used in Italy, similar to wallets like Twint in Switzerland and Vipps in Norway. And you can now use this with Stripe for one-time payments. This one's unique because it's also, for instance, you can use it for your welfare payments if you're living in Italy. Other small wins, I'm not going to talk through all of them, but a couple I'd like to highlight. So Vero, a new payment method, another wallet, is growing in adoption. And one of the things that's happening is that Ideal, the payment method used for online payments in the Netherlands, is being absorbed by Vero. And the first step towards that is that now all the payment method labels, so the name of the payment method on websites, but also the logos are now co-branded. So it now always says Ideal and Vero, and then later this year and early next year, this will fully move to Vero. Now this is just a cosmetic change, but we've updated our standard labels and images. But if you have a custom integration that uses custom labels that you set in your website, and you use custom logos, you will need to do this yourself. Another topic is a continued one, is we host our ProcessingHub on Heroku, and Heroku does a lot of things for us, like automatically updating versions of infrastructure, but we need to make sure that when that happens, all the processes still keep running. So we've added some additional resilience there. We're also adding AVS. We've built it for Paya, but we're now also adding it to another American processor, authorize.net. So you can also use billing addresses there. And if you want to read about all the other great small wins we've added, please go to our knowledge base, our new knowledge base, and browse the release notes. That's it for today. Thank you for listening. We hope to see you back for our May release, where we hope to ship a great many new things. For now, we will stick around for questions, but if you don't have any, have a great weekend and see you next time.